What were your interactions with Donald Sterling when you were a Clipper?
Mine were very minimal, but they were also not ideal. I'm sure you guys have heard about the white party and all of that stuff.
Mhm.
Like that was a sketch time.
So people that don't understand what the white party is, what is the white
The
party?
white party is what it sounds like. Well, not what it sounds like.
Is this like, 4th of July all white party?
This is like an American holiday themed party where you dress in all white. Obviously, it was not all white party, and it was just kind of like his entourage of people, some business people, and the team.
Mm-hmm.
And what it felt like was showcase of
It's tall black guys.
He said that. I didn't say that. Paul George said that. That's almost what it felt awkward like. For a guy like Blake, who we had just drafted #1, and it was kind of like, he was escorting Blake around the party.
Mm-hmm.
Meet him, isn't he tall and handsome? And look at his muscles, and it was kind of like, all right, well, I'm glad I ain't got no muscles. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be walking around.
That is awkward.
Yeah, it was just kind of like.
Do you flex?
Even Blake was like.
Yeah.
It was weird, man. But then after a while, it was kind of like, y'all don't have to go to that no more.
Yeah.
P almost had to go to those things, but we drafted Al Farouk Amino instead of P. P could have had the pleasure of going to the white parties, man.
I wonder what he would have said about you.
Look how tall, because I didn't have no muscles then either.
Look at his hairline. Can you believe this?
Pristine hairline right there.
Any Donald Sterling stories, white party stories, anything? What you got for us?
I wasn't invited to the white party, so
might have been too young.
Yeah, so but no, it was definitely different. There was something different going on there. I remember being in the locker room and just, him always bringing his friends back there.
Weird, right?
And one time it's just, man, being, it's like mugs in the locker room, people going back and forth to the shower, and, it was just lingering around back there, and, it's
cock
just like,
watching.
Yeah, it was just like, man,
weird.
It was just weird. It was weird.
Super weird,
That's all I'm going to say. It was weird to me. Weird energy. So I didn't know how to take that at 19, 20 years
right.
old.
Like, what the fuck? You got all the owners in here watching dicks? Crazy. Is this how all the teams do it?
Man.
Shalom. I would like to give our honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakodash. I would like to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to all you sincere Akim, pushing this word out across the four corners of the world. And this is an article from basketballnetwork.net. And the title says, DeAndre Jordan talks about the awkwardness of Donald Sterling's all-white parties. It was a showcase of tall black guys. And this article was published on June the 25th, 2024. And it says, the Donald Sterling era of the Los Angeles Clippers was a strange time in the franchise's colorful history. Under his watch, the team failed to gain any success. And right when they began getting more traction and love from fans with the exciting play of the Lob City Clippers of Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, and DeAndre Jordan, a recorded conversation emerged in which Sterling was heard making racist remarks. This incident does not only tarnish the team's reputation, but also had a significant impact on the players' morale and performance. Sterling was an eccentric man. According to DeAndre, one of his eccentricities was his all-white party held each year at his mansion in Malibu. Jordan said he and his teammates found the event not just awkward, but deeply uncomfortable, as they felt out of place and under scrutiny. A gathering of Donald's associates. Jordan shared that the event was an annual gathering of Sterling's friends and business associates. The event mandated that everyone attending must wear white attire save for the Clippers owner, who wore a black outfit. Every year, the Clippers were invited to the affair. DJ, though, felt a peculiar feeling about the bash. The atmosphere at the party was electric, with music blasting and people chatting and mingling. But for DeAndre, it felt like something else entirely. As he stood there surrounded by his new teammates, he couldn't shake the feeling that they were not just being put on display, but being objectified. And that word objectified goes into like treating people like they're tools or toys, as if they had no type of opinions, rights, or even feelings. So pretty much you are being degraded to the status of a mere object. That's how these other nations, beginning with the tabernacle of Esau, Edom, who are the so-called Caucasian race in today's time, look at you Jakes. And that's referring to you biblical Israelites, who are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, and Native Americans in today's time. And that type of dehumanization or humiliation traces back onto the curses that will only fit the biblical Israelites within these latter times. Because when you read Deuteronomy 28 and 43, it goes into about the stranger. And that's referring to the man of sin himself, Esau, Edom, and along with his counterparts, these other nations. So the stranger that is within thee should get up above thee very high. And that can go into all types of categories, from income, from status, from wealth, resources, you name it. And thou, again, referring to you biblical Israelites, should come down very low. So it says right here, what it felt like was almost a showcase of, DeAndre said on Paul George podcast, his voice trailing off. And that showcase of, he's referring to going back to the slave auction. When our forefathers, and pretty much we are our forefathers coming back within a process called reincarnation, when we were on those auction blocks, those different slave traders or auctioneers, they would sell us as individuals or in lots or in a group to the other highest bidder. And a lot of times they broke the family unit up. But going back to the point, those auctioneers, they would be analyzing the slave's body, from their hair to the teeth to their body shape, how muscular the slave buck was. And also they'd be checking out the woman's breast, especially to see if she had children or not. And pretty much other demeaning things. So when DeAndre stated this on Paul George podcast about what it felt like was almost a showcase of, and he's referring to the slave auction, which also proves through the spirit, how the spirit itself bearing witness with our spirit that we are the children of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, which are the biblical Israelites, because it was spiritual for him to say that. So fast forward to nowadays, those slave auctions have been upgraded to NFL combines. And that's when these different top college football prospects, they showcase their skills and attributes in front of all 32 NFL teams. And this type of mockery is like a week-long event where these different NFL teams, who are mainly ran by Esau Edom, they will have these different top college football prospects participate in various evaluations, such as drills, 40-yard dashes, vertical jumps, interviews, and the list goes on, only to see if you are worthy to be a part of their team or association or organization. And once they see fit that you are worthy enough, then you will be drafted to their teams, which is why you have the NFL draft and also the NBA draft. And who predominantly plays those particular sports? Jake, you Israelites. So again, what it felt like was almost a showcase of, DeAndre said on Paul George podcast, his voice trailing off. Tall black guys, PG-13 continued, which is a nickname for Paul George, another NBA basketball player. The athletic 6'11" center added that the event was even more awkward for Blake Griffin, who the Clippers had selected as the first overall pick in the 2009 NBA draft out of Oklahoma. That's what it felt like. I felt super awkward for a guy like Blake, who we had just drafted number 1. He was kind of like he was escorting Blake around the party, introducing him like, isn't he tall and handsome? Look at his muscles, Jordan narrated. The player's discomfort was palpable, with even Blake expressing his confusion and discomfort at the situation. So these different pro athletes or entertainers or celebs, they're nothing but so-called rich slaves. And I bring this out from time to time. It's like us and them, the so-called common or normal people, like all of the Israelites, we are all within that backyard. And only difference between us and them, their leash just extends a little bit further than ours, where they can navigate a little bit more and further within their backyard. But remember the point, they still have those collars around their necks. No matter what type of so-called riches, fame, glory, or status they have within this modern society, they still belong to the God of this world. And that takes me to Jeremiah 2 verse 14. Is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? And the answers to those two questions are yes. Like our people have been so institutionalized here within this American setup and really across the whole world under this Edomite supremacy that the vast majority of our people have developed a psychological condition called Stockholm Syndrome. And that's described as a victim or a hostage identifies with and empathizes with their captor or abuser. And they are all for the goals, the plans, and the mindset of their captor or abuser. Like for example, look how many of our people are engulfed into Christianity or Roman Catholicism or all of these other wayward religions or philosophies of Esau Edom. Our people are spiritually intoxicated by that Babylonian wine. They believe into the westernization or the American democracy, the American dream, or this Edomite supremacy. And they'll try to crucify you, whether it be literally or figuratively, if you oppose the God of this world. So going back to this verse again, within the question it asks, is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled? And all of these different noble figures of our people within the Hollywood realm, they do not mind being paraded around as an escort at these weird upper echelon Edomite parties, being fondled, probably being the butt of everybody's jokes, being used as sex objects, being associated with all of these weird satanic rituals. Because Jake's mindset at the end of the day is get to the bag. And with that type of corrupted mindset or spirit, you are detaching more and more from your power source, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Because as I jump down to verse 33 within Jeremiah, the 2nd chapter, it says, why trimmest thou thy way to seek love? So when it comes to your moral principles, codes, ethics, and values, you would do anything to be at one with Esau Edom, and more so to be that peasant or slave that's getting crumbs under the table from Esau Edom. So you would trim your way by losing your spirituality with Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. And what I call it, microwave success, that instant gratification. Because at the end of the day, it's only short-lived. And what Esau does, he utilizes our people for his benefit as a resource in order to bring more riches and wealth to his families or his organizations. And once our people reaches a certain age, especially concerning this entertainment industry, you are no longer usable for Esau Edom. So what does he do afterwards? He discards you and puts you on the shelf. And we have witnessed this many, many times concerning this entertainment industry over the years. So why trimmest thou thy way to seek love? Therefore hast thou also taught the wicked ones thy ways. All right, so back to the article, and it says, didn't want to be paraded around. DeAndre joked that he was glad his arms had no good muscle definition, as he didn't want to be paraded around like Blake. And that's kept at the end of the day concerning DeAndre Jordan. Because at the end of the day, for you to have a good name within this American society, still have the so-called riches, the fame, the glory, being showcased on all of these reputable podcasts, you will have to give in to Esau Edom. He's called the man of sin for a reason. So therefore, especially by you being an Israelite, they're going to have you doing some very degrading and vile things. And for DeAndre Jordan to be within the NBA since like 2008, he's considered as an NBA veteran. So you best believe that he got down with the program by being fondled, being engaged into those orgies at those so-called all-white parties, and many other sadistic things. And that's exactly what you have to do to be associated with the God of this world. And especially by you being an Israelite, you have to have that mindset of anti-Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. So that means anything goes concerning the left-hand side. And it says right here, I was kind of glad I didn't have any muscles. I didn't want to be walking around like that. It was awkward. Like you flex. Even Blake was like, what the fuck? It was weird, man. After a while, it was kind of like, y'all don't have to go to that anymore. We were like, thank you. We appreciate that. It was a strange time, Jordan continued. And that whole ordeal of the slave master parading his gladiators around to his counterparts, that goes back to that ancient Greco-Roman era. Because back in 2010 to 2013, you had a TV series by the name of Spartacus. And it was based on the ancient Roman Empire. And Spartacus, he was a Jake, by the way. So he was within the Thracian military and became enslaved by the Romans. And he was sold to this particular Roman by the name of Quintus Batiatus. And he was a lanista. And that's a trainer or a trader of gladiators. So Batiatus, he was the head of his family Ludus back in Capua. And they refer to him as Dominus, in other words saying master. So when Batiatus brought his enslaved and trained gladiators, when his different peers and counterparts came to his home, he would treat his guests by allowing them to have their way with his gladiators. And keep in mind, these were well-trained, mighty men. But they had no say-so whenever those Romans wanted to use them as a sexual escort, or being fondled, or just being objectified. So fast forward to nowadays, it's nothing new under the sun. That same type of vibration, especially concerning these modern day gladiators, such as your NBA players, your NFL players, and the list goes on. They're all being paraded around, being humiliated, being mocked at for the pleasure of these different team or league owners, and also for their upper echelon counterparts or peers. So these are the consequences of our people making that covenant with death. That takes me right to Isaiah 28 verse 15. Because you have said, we have made a covenant with death. That goes into that pact or the agreement that you made with the God of this world. Esau, Edom, and along with his spiritual counterpart, which is Satan. And with hell are we at agreement, when the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it should not come unto us. For we have made lies our refuge, and under falsehood have we hid ourselves. So therefore it's going to be a great retribution upon 2/3 of our people that intentionally made Esau their God instead of their true power source, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. And that's exactly what you Jakes get concerning this article we just read about DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin, and along with the LA Clippers roster at that time frame. And you already know this stuff is still going on, being paraded around as an object unto Esau Edom and along with his counterparts. And you already know some very sadistic things was going on. So again, that's what our people get when you make that covenant with death. You cannot patiently wait until the captain of our salvation come through, which is Yahweh Shai. So instead, you wanted that microwave success. You wanted that instant gratification. You wanted the perks that pertains to the fashion of this world. And again, even though these so-called noble figures of our people that sold out, that's into this highly weird industry, they're nothing but that same dog in that backyard, but he has a longer leash that he can be able to roam around. And even if they do have a little bit of reach, it's still limited at the end of the day. Hence the black cards, where Esau offers these different sellout jates and celebs in order to trace your everyday transactions or movements. So you're still the property of Esau Edom at the end of the day. And this article really shed a lot of light to it that goes on behind these closed doors at these so-called upper echelon white parties. And as it stated within Luke 8:17, for nothing is secret that should not be made manifest, neither anything hid that should not be known and come abroad. So with that, hopefully you all edified, you all stay strong, keep pushing forward. Shalom.